Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Leading Academy. Guys, in the previous lecture we have dealt with what is an investigation and how that investigation is different from an inquiry. And in today's lecture we're gonna discuss what is a warrant case and how this warrant case is different from summons case. Okay, so first of all we'll see what is a warrants case, but prior to that we have to see what is this warrant. Warrant means it is a sort of authorization, or we can say a sort of authority given by a magistrate or by a court to a police officer to make arrest. Now we'll see what is a warrants case. How could we come across whether a case is warrants case or it is something different? Who will tell us which case is warrants case or which case is summons case? It is the punishment which will tell us the case whether it is warrant case or it is something different. So warrants case means a case relating to an offence which is punishable either with death, life imprisonment or an imprisonment more than 2 years. What does that mean? If a person has committed an offence for which the death is either death, for which the punishment is either death, life imprisonment or more than 2 years, then we can say that that case will come within the ambit of warrants case, and he will be dealt accordingly as per the chapter 19 of the Criminal Procedure Code, which deals with the trial of the warrants case. Fine. Now let's take an example with regard to the same. Suppose a person has committed a murder. Person has committed a murder and the punishment is given under 302, which gives us the punishment for a murder, that is either death or life imprisonment with fine. Now we come across that if a person has committed a heinous crime like a murder, then he will be dealt under a warrants case. Now what about the case for which the punishment is more than 3 years? Do we have any sort of example for that? Yes, we do have. Suppose if a person has committed a theft for which the punishment is 3 years and which is given under 379. So punishment is 3 years, above 2 years. So we can say that this is a sort of what? This is a warrant case. Or we have one more example, 384, which gives the punishment for extortion. If anybody has committed extortion, there also a punishment of 3 years has been given with regard to the same. So we come across that this is a warrants case. Now coming forward to a summons case. But prior to that, we'll see what is a summon. It is a document, or we can say a sort of notice which is issued by a court to a person to appear before a court or to produce a document. Now we'll see, we have seen in the warrants case, punishment is one thing which will prescribe, which will say us, which will tell us whether the case is warrants case or summons case. So if we see the definition which is given under 200 of the Criminal Procedure 1973, that says a case relating to an offence and not a warrants case. What does that mean? If the case is not warrants case, if the case does not fall within the ambit of warrants case, then that is a summons case. In other words, we can say if a person has committed an offence for which punishment is 2 years or below 2 years, then we can say that is a summons case. Let us take an example. If a person has committed criminal intimidation, criminal intimidation is punishable under 506, for which the punishment is 2 years. 2 years imprisonment is there, then in that situation we can say that this will fall within the ambit of summons case. Cheating is there, 417, punishable for 1 year. So this also is given. So this will come within the ambit of summons case. Moving forward with another point. Is there any sort of provision available in the warrants trial wherein we can say the magistrate can discharge a person accused of an offence? Yes, we have a provision, full-fledged provision in the warrants trial itself, which says that when magistrate can discharge a person accused of an offence. There are 3 situations wherein the magistrate can discharge a person. Number first, when a police report along with the documents has been furnished before a magistrate, and the magistrate, if deemed necessary, examined the accused person thereof and accordingly has given both the parties opportunity of being heard. The prosecution as well as the accused has been given a sort of opportunity to argue the matter, and accordingly the magistrate came across the same, and magistrate came to the conclusion that after perusing the police report, documents and hearing both the sides, magistrate came to the conclusion that there is no case made out against the accused person. Then in that situation, magistrate may discharge accused person for that. Fine. Second aspect of the same is, if the complainant does not appear before a court, then in that situation the magistrate is having power to discharge the accused from the offences. Fine. Or if the offence is compoundable and non-cognizable. Compoundable means which is compromisable, or it must be non-cognizable. If it is compoundable or non-cognizable, then in that situation we can say that magistrate is having the power to discharge the person who has been accused of an offence. But it must be a non-cognizable offence. If it's a cognizable offence, then magistrate cannot discharge him. Fine. Now another aspect of the same is that if no charge has been framed against the accused. Why charge has not been framed against the accused? Because magistrate is of the opinion, while perusing all the documents furnished to him under 173 and hearing the parties, he came to the conclusion that no charge is required to be framed against the accused person. Then in that situation also the magistrate may discharge the accused person thereof. Now, is the same provision available there in sort of the summons case? No. No such provision is available in the summons trial. While dealing with the summons case, no such provision is laid down. But one thing is there, that if the complainant does not appear, or on death of the complainant, if the complainant has died who has filed a complaint, or he does not appear before the court, then in that situation the accused person who is alleged to have committed an offence, he may be acquitted thereof. उसको बरी किया जाएगा, उसको मैजिस्ट्रेट बरी करेगा अगर ये दो सिचुएशंस है. But there is a proviso clause with regard to this. Complainant does not appear. That means, what does that proviso says? That if court is of the opinion that there is sufficient cause for non-appearance of the complainant, then in that situation he will not be acquitted, rather a case will be adjourned. But if the complainant does not appear, for there is no cause, he has no sufficient cause why he did not came before a court, then in that situation acquittal will be done. Now let's move forward to another point. When all these things are done, if the magistrate, while perusing police report, documents and hearing the parties, he deems that there is case made out prima facie, and perusing these documents, he is of the view, the magistrate is of the view that case is made out, then accordingly charge will be framed. Charge accused के खिलाफ frame किया जाएगा. What with regard to the summons case? Is it like that? In the summons case also this charge will be framed? It is not like that. In the summons case, it is not necessary to frame the charge against the accused person. Then what is to be done by a magistrate? Only the particulars of an offence are to be conveyed to the accused person, so that he will be well positioned, so that he will come across what offence actually he has committed. Okay, so let's move forward to another point. Now, there may, if after the framing of the charge, the accused has been said whether you plead guilty or you do not plead guilty, or you want to claim to be tried, then in that situation, if the person accused of an offence has said that I plead guilty, then in that situation the magistrate is having the discretion. Word may has been used in the provision. Then in that situation magistrate may convict him on such plea and record the plea accordingly. Now, what with regard to the summons case? Same is, also applicable here in the summons case, but one thing is to be kept in mind: the magistrate must record the plea which has been given by the accused in the same words used by the accused person, and accordingly here also the magistrate is having the discretion, he may convict him thereof. Now move forward to another point. Question arises: can warrants case be converted into a summons case? This question may arise in your mind also. So warrants case cannot be converted into a summons case. But what with regard to the summons case? Now you may pose me a question: why warrants case can't be converted into a summons case? This question may also arise in your mind. See, the punishment here is death, life imprisonment, or more than 2 years, and in summons case we have only 2 years or below 2 years. So in that situation, seeing the gravity and the seriousness of the offense, this cannot be converted into the summons case. But with regard to the summons case can be converted into a warrants case in the interest of the justice. If the magistrate is of the opinion that summons case are to be tried as per the warrants tried, then in that situation the summons case can be converted into what? It can be converted into a warrants case. Now there is one last point which is essential to know about. Once this whole process has been done, then accordingly in the warrants case a warrant is to be issued. A warrant will be issued at the very first instance, or if the magistrate is of the opinion that warrants are not to be issued, then in that situation instead of the warrant at the first instance, summons will be issued in the warrant case. But with regard to the summons case, summons are to be issued to a person concerned so that he will appear before a court. But if he does not appear before a court despite issuance of the summon, then in that situation the court is having the power to issue a warrant against that very person. So this was all about the warrant case and the summons case. I hope that things are clear now and you are now well able, you are now in a position that you can differentiate between these two concepts, and I hope that this lecture is informative for you. Thank you so much.